Recently on the Discord server, I had cause to ask how tall people thought Joanna was. Answers varied. But what if Joanna wasn't an average person or a giant woman? What if she was around half her normal height? This brings us to today's video. Can you complete the game while crouched the entire time? Let's find out. Well, I already know the answer, but you'll find out now. We'll start at the start, which is Datacore, the zeroth mission. Getting past the security system here is a breeze. And here's our first major obstacle of the run. This switch, and others like it, is out of reach. Just too high. Now, if you're a speed runner, you can push these guys through the door to open it for you, but small Joanna is also weak Joanna, and they're not going anywhere. However, there is another option. Using this cart, we can build a ramp to get to the switch. Our diminutive height means we can't scale big steps like we used to, so we'll also need some of these to get up top. And with some epic gaming, we're up and we can proceed like normal. Not sure what happened to the other guy here. Now, we can't exactly crouch with the cam spy, but if you think about it, we can't stand up either, so I think we're all good here. And on as normal until we come to our next switch, the door's life support. Nothing super useful lying around to make a climbing frame with, so we'll have to think outside the box. Or should that be, we have to think with the box? So the plan is to make a large platform out of the boxes and then use the explosive cover method to clip on top of them. A large platform is preferable because when you roll out of the cover, you come out pretty fast, and it's very easy to fall off the edge. So we're up and we can carefully tiptoe over to the button and continue on as normal. Until we come to the next switch. My idea here was to get a couple of the boxes over to this switch and do the boost again, so let's see how that went. So, the unpredictable box physics and the curved sides of the bridge, along with no collision on the railings for items, makes this task very difficult. I tried to see if there was an alternative way underneath. There wasn't. So, this came a lot earlier than I was hoping for, but I just couldn't get any of the boxes over the bridge. It really should be possible. But for now, we'll put a pin in it and move on. The rest of the level plays out as normal. Something to note is that these gun cabinets become incredibly fussy where you're looking before it'll let you plunder its booty. So that's the longest level down, and hopefully the rest won't be quite as problematic. Nightclub is up next, and it's completely unchanged, just a bit slower. I do like coming in here with the music turned off though.
Nice to meet you.
Anyway, nothing to see here, so we'll just finish up and move on. Canonically, Subway is next, and we start off as normal with the very competent hit squad sent to take us out.
Last biosign just dropped off the scanner. You got them all, Joe.
We can actually reach the card reader, and we can also blow up the wall here for a shortcut. However, we didn't blow it up very well because we can't get through. We can use the opportunity to clear out a few guys early though.
I got her! How could you?
So we take the long way round and continue on as normal, until we come to an interesting roadblock. For whatever reason, there's an invisible barrier at the top of the door that we're too short to climb over. We can take cover next to it though, so it's a fixable, if strange, problem. And from here we really can finish the level as normal.
I'm sorry, I should never have asked you to do that.
Rooftops is up next, and since we move quite slowly, we have to rely on Jack to take care of himself, at least a little bit.
Jack! No! We lost Jack! Jack! No! Jack? Jack! Jack! No!
Joe, can you see him?
You might have noticed earlier that we can no longer get into this pipe. Luckily, one of the game's strengths is that it typically offers several different ways to get through a level. And we can Gordon Freeman our way down here into this vent that isn't just reserved for tall boys. Defending Jack is as easy as always, and luckily we can reach the zipline. Now, I had a sinking feeling the controls for the cleaning rig would be out of reach with no obvious workaround, but the game's feeling generous and lets us press it. We wait here so Killian doesn't take advantage of our slow movement and shoot us full of bullets. He sticks around for a very long time, but he does eventually leave and we can continue on as normal until we come up against this impassable ledge, again with no obvious workaround. There is another way to the end of the level though, although this way isn't as official as the alternate routes we've already come across. If you're a good player, you can do a backwards roll off of this ledge and get to the bottom part of the level. If you're a good player, you can do a backwards roll off of this ledge and get to the bottom part of the level. And from here it's a straight shot to the boss fight and the end of the level.
Take him out, Joe!
Mansion time now. We're not long started and we already run into a roadblock. The security here is too tall for us to break into. Luckily, like Rooftops, there are multiple ways for us to get to the other side of that door. Side note, don't fall in the water. You can get back out, but only in a few random spots. So, we can continue on, but it's not long before we run into the next roadblock, or rather, the same roadblock again. There's two ways through this door, the lock on the left and the intercom on the right. Both are out of our tiny reach. There's nowhere obviously useful to take cover to boost through a wall, and there's no props in the level to help us boost either through the wall or up to the lock. Unlike Datacore, I can't see any theoretical ways around it, so sadly we'll have to stretch our legs here. Once we're in, the laser grid is a non-issue, and surprisingly, we can go through the windows as normal. The statues in the boss fight are slightly more dangerous because of our slow movement speed, but apart from that, it's business as usual.
You were lucky. Cross me again, and your victory will not be won so easily.
No!
Next, we're doing a Doom guy and collecting key cards in the laboratory. There are several ways to do this, but all of them involve hitting a switch up in the sky. Luckily for us, there's a way to the second part of the level that doesn't need any key cards. Now, I didn't even try the lift because I assumed I wouldn't be able to reach the bridge controls on the upper level, but thinking about it, it would probably be the same situation as the cleaning rig in Rooftops, so probably would have managed it.
Watch my ass!
But regardless, it's easy enough to reach the top level by other means. I also forgot to bring something explosive to take out all the lasers in the prison, but by pure luck, Jack was in the first cell I individually opened. By the time we waddle over to the prison, most of the guards have congregated by the door, and it's another easy win.
Tumantin Soya, Graal, 10 degrees south, 76 degrees west, Alphaeus Mangere, Ozymandias!
What?
Back out the way we came in, it's river, and actually it's quite a fun battle over to the firing range. We blast a hole in the wall and make our way to the gate controls. This is another part I was worried about, but this one isn't a door switch, so it's easily reachable. Jack's hardened up since his Rooftops performance, and in fact, for a change, it's me who's holding us up. For a second, it looks like I'm not going to be able to get into the hovercraft, but there's one spot at the front that will let us in. Joe's sitting down here, so that counts, right? Bent knees? Anyway, from here on, everything goes exactly as planned.
Jack! No!
Time for some more Trinity platform now, and I wasn't expecting any problems here. However, it's not long before we run into one, literally. Now, it's not a big problem. It's quite small, actually. But it's definitely unexpected. With the help of Box Friend, we conquer the mountain and can continue as normal. Except, I don't know where Dr. Carroll is, so I had to turn the waypoints back on. But then we really can finish with no extra challenge.
Chandra!
Come on, Joe, you're a smart girl.
You convinced me to come here!
See, I knew you had it in you.
But why?
More Trinity now, and no problems to speak of, but I found something very interesting. It seems that if you crouch over this area just after the store, enemies don't spawn in the first room here. I passed these findings on to the testing department, so we'll see if anything comes of that. Besides that though, the level is unchanged. As a side note, if you're looking to complete the cut-off pursuit objective by yourself, you only need to set the third bomb for the objective to complete.
If you're not the army, then who?
Package secure. Initialize the sat link. Let's get the old man on the hollow. Whew, that was hot.
On to the jungle. Now, I realise the P90's brown vision isn't the best thing to look at, but there's something undeniably satisfying about those red outlines being snuffed out. Dropship defended, we continue as usual until the top step is slightly higher than the rest. Now, I'd argue it's too high. Luckily, the game's design comes to the rescue again, and there's another way up. And we can continue as normal until some of this water is too deep and makes us stand up, which is the opposite of crouching. I've got a plan though. This time I decided we don't need to defend the dropship. We just need to get to the checkpoint before it blows up, which...
Eagle One's destroyed. You okay?
yeah. The timing's a bit tight with moving so slowly, but we get there and we can clip off of this bridge to get out of bounds. What we'll do is use the terrain up here to get past most of the water. We want to make sure we land in the water here to avoid getting snagged on invisible walls on the mountainsides. And if we creep round the edge here and onto the island, we've avoided all of the deep pools of water. There's no guards here, but I don't know if that's because being out of bounds despawned them or because we crouched over something important. And from there, it's a straight shot to the finish.
Carrington. I'm at the Carrington. You're gonna want to see this. Relaying my Carrington now.
Final stretch now, and we can reach this laser control thing, even though I swear it's higher up than some of the switches we couldn't reach before. The pit traps are no bother at all. Those ancient Mayans really need to up their game. We are going to try and miss some of these spikes though, in case our slow speed makes us take too much damage. And from there, it's onwards as normal, and on to the Phantom fight. Hang on, can we see that again?
Here's your chance. Pilot the bug spike. Power source.
Well, that won't do. Luckily, we don't actually need the cam spy to get into the boss fight. No one's gonna. If the cam spy would, no one would miss the cam spy. You could delete the cam spy. No one would care.
Let's get the old man on the hollow.
Phantom fight is business as usual, although we're too slow to meet them in the usual places, so I guess it's not business as usual after all.
Carrington.
Outpost now, and as you can see, we're having some issues with what I consider to be the normal route, but I'm not sure is actually intended. We approach this generator with trepidation, but luckily we can reach the lock, although we are treated to this interesting camera angle.
Support fire. A1.
Taking out the generator takes out the lasers on this door so we can rescue our boys. We're going to need them to press some buttons for us in a moment.
Whew, that was hot work. Boy, do I want a cold beer.
I'd love to make small talk, Jonathan, but I gotta take out the air defenses.
Buttons pressed and we're off. I wondered for a second if these steps would be too high to mount, but we can crawl our way up and we're off to the end of the level with no extra challenge.
No!
Datadyne dropship in the air. Jonathan, secure those air defenses immediately.
You know, I can barely get the old man on the hot beer.
Jonathan!
We're almost at the end now. Is it just me, or is this getting easier the further we get into the game? I didn't think there would be any problems with this level, and I was right. Although my aim is pretty bad, so that adds an extra challenge I suppose.
We got one shot at this, Joanna. Cross that bridge and get to Zhangli.
Whew, that was hot work. Boy, do I want a cold beer.
Jonathan!
We're a little more vulnerable on the bridge, but it's nothing we can't handle, and that's it. We fought our way through the entire game, up to the final showdown. It's all been leading up to this. It's time to face a truly epic, powerful enemy. Zhangli is very easy and he dies very quickly.
I have built an empire. I have become a god.
But empires crumble.
And the statues of our gods become dust. We're just shadows passing in the night.
No!
Whew, that was hot work.
I could use...
Boy, do I want a cold beer.
And that's it. We had to stand up 2 times, and I'm pretty sure if I had had more patience it would only be the once. If anybody has any ideas for the mansion one, please let me know and I can make a follow-up video if we find anything we can use. I hope you like this style of video. It was a lot of fun to make and breathed new life into the single player campaign for me. I've got another couple of these in the bag. That's not a phrase. I've got another couple of these being worked on, so hopefully they'll be done soon and hopefully I'll see you there. Alright, love you, bye. There is another way to the end of the level though. Although, Let's try that again. There is another way to the end of the level, though. Mansion time now. We're not long started, and we already run into a roadblock. Mansion time now. We're not long started, and we already run into a roadblock. Once we're in, the laser grid is a non-issue, and surprisingly, once we're in, more Trinity now, and no problems to speak of. Well, let's try that one again. There's no guards here, but I don't know if that's because... Oh. Read the sentence first. There's no guards here, but I don't know